As you can see, yeah, if I'm moving along, I just sprayed the contacts with some of this just to help prevent corrosion. I'll let that dry 15 minutes and put a second coat on it, just making sure this is shook up really good. And I'm going to put the battery box on next. I'm not showing every little nut and bolt, there's no point in it. And then I'm going to put the rear control arm on, and then I might put the forks on and start cleaning the wheels up so I can install them. It's going together. It's looking good. Yeah, it looks a lot better than it did before I took it apart. I put that note on the motor because I want to take this, I don't want to crank it or anything without oil in it. I put the oil filter on. I put the wicks that was in it on. It only had about 15, 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes top or run time on it. And the filter was still totally clean, so I just left it, and I'm going to pop this cover off again anyway. And I ordered new gasket for the points, new gasket for the alternator on the other side, a new gasket for here, and a seal for here, because I'm going to take this off again. You can see I got the control arm on. It's hitting the kickstand. That's why those paper towels are there, so it doesn't scratch it. I put these lowering blocks back on. Obviously the battery back in, just get stuff out of my way. I'm done with, you know, basic stuff here other than running the wiring harnesses, which is really no big deal. And the brake light switch, and I haven't put the foot pegs on or the brake or any of that. I got to straighten the brake thing, but the foot pegs, the exhaust has to go on first. And I ordered castle nuts, chrome castle nuts for these, for here. So I think that'll look nice once these are on. So, and I gotta buff the pipes yet, get the discoloration out. I played with one of them a little bit. Let's see, it's this one here. But yeah, I played with one of them a little bit, and that discoloring does seem to come out. But you know, the pipes aren't mint. But I'm gonna clean them up. They're part of the chrome. The chrome on this bike is, you know, not that good. But anyway, I gotta clean this up. I don't know if I stated this or not, but I did order new shocks for the rear. See, I rebuilt the front forks and they were pretty hideous. I can't imagine the rear shocks would be any better. So I got new rear shocks coming and new ignition coils too. The coils are fine. But the problem is the wires. They're just as stiff as a rock. And I'm surprised they don't snap when I try and bend them. And you can't really change them at the coil, so you're kind of stuck ordering new coils. And the black with the white is the 12 volts, and the blue goes to the points, which completes the circuit to ground. But anyway, yeah, so I got new coils coming. So things, you know, if it's done by Christmas, it'll be a miracle because I'm waiting on parts. But yeah, it's going together, looking nice. I'm not putting the shifter on. I pull the cover off to put the chain on, and I'm going to get an O-ring chain because this chain had 3 master links in it, and I think it had catastrophic chain failure at one time because this was tore up. I still gotta, that's what I'm going to do now so I can put this on. This, I think this needs to go on before the wheel and stuff. So I'm going to clean that up, get that ready to go back on, clean the rear wheel up and everything. I might put the forks on and those chrome bezels and the, we'll see, just what I feel like doing. I'm just kind of putzing along here, but yeah, I did get quite a bit, as you can see, together. And like I say, I'm really pleased with the way it looks. It just looks so nice painted up, as opposed to you know, remember it had rust all around in here and here, and You know, it was just, go back and look at the earlier videos. It was just hideous. So anyway, this is looking much, much nicer. And the bolts painted black look nice. They're satin black and the frame is gloss black. So you can kind of, well, they just look nicer. They don't stand out like a sore thumb. Just seeing a shiny bolt on a black frame, or a dull or rusty bolt on a black frame is what these were before. So that just looks a lot better, don't you think? I do. And alright, so I might put the forks and headlight stuff on, and then maybe I'll clean the front wheel up first. That doesn't need a lot of cleaning. Get the front wheel on, then I can start playing with the handlebars and getting them, figuring out, you know, where I got to drill the holes and mount them and run the wiring and order brake hoses and cables and whatnot. But anyway, here I am yapping away again. I'm gonna put the studs back in the block too for the exhaust. I gotta clean them up, and then I'll just thread them in, and that way when my chrome castle nuts come, and hopefully I might buff the exhaust, I can put the exhaust and the foot pegs and the brake pedal and all that stuff has to come off to get the exhaust off. So, you know, there's no point in putting that stuff on until the exhaust is ready to go back on. But we're moving along on the bike. It's looking good. The airbox, like I say, it's all on. All these clamps that are secure. Tighten up all these clamps. Routed all the hoses for everything. That's in, bolted down. There was the bracket back here was missing, and there was no bolt, so I'll probably make something if I can't find something that'll work. Just a little piece of angle metal will work back there. Just bolts down there and bolts in there. And the top here, the battery and air cleaner cover, whatever the toolkit and everything goes, that's all missing too. So we'll just, you know, until I find it. Finding parts for this bike has been a little bit of a chore. Not a lot of parts for these XLs pretty readily available. I think that because they're pretty popular bike. These bikes aren't as popular, but when I do find parts, they're either beat up like the fender, they're either beat up or rust corroded or just not, you know, trying to find good used. And but there is a motorcycle salvage yard north of here about an hour. Maybe we get a nice day, I'll drive up there and see if I can get the missing parts that go in here, and maybe they'll have a fender, you know, for the front here. But like I say, I'm thinking of painting the fender this color here, because, and leaving the mounting brackets chrome, but just take them off, take these things off, and just paint this part and leave those polished, because those are stainless and they're nice. And but you know, with the white leading into the black, like on the tank, you know, it starts out white, and the headlights and speedometers, I don't think it would look bad with a white fender. And it'll do until, you know, if I find a chrome one, it's easy enough to change. You know, it's not like the stuff, basically the chrome that's not on the bike right now is the stuff that needs to be, you know, changed to really make it stellar. Like the rear wheel. The front wheel is okay. It's got one little spot on it, but it's acceptable. The rear wheel is pretty rough, and the front fender is pretty rough. The rear fender isn't too bad. It's got a couple dents in it, and I'm going to leave the dents alone. They're kind of out of sight. I think maybe, I don't know if they're in exactly the same spot on both sides, so I don't know if somebody bumped them in to fit the luggage rack or the sissy bar or what, but they're not offensive, so I'm leaving them alone. I'm not making a show bike. I'm making a fun bike to ride in the summertime, and I hope to ride this thing. I think it'll be a blast to ride. Get some, you know, dress 1972 and go out and ride my 1972 custom motorcycle. I think that'll be fun. It'll be a neat bike to ride. All right, I'm done yapping. Let me get back to doing something here. I found that little bracket for the air cleaner. polished it up, put it on, so the air cleaner's in there nice, and the little, like I said, it's still missing stuff for the top and the toolkit, and I'll get all that, but the bolts that go through here that hold this are still in the rear fender there. So I gotta clean all that up so I can put that on. I gotta deal with this and swap out the handlebars, but I got the forks on, and I think I'll clean the front tire next, the wheel, because it's not too bad. Maybe tomorrow, and then I'll install that, and then I'll install handlebars so I can start seeing what I need to order for brake hoses and cables and what I need to do to extend the wiring. So now you can kind of see, you don't see any of that beat up fork, do you? It's all up in here. All that crummy looking fork tube is behind these, and it's clean up to here, both of them, and the travel limit's about to there. Maybe they're at the tops, but anyway, we got the new rubbers on there, and I didn't tighten this, and I didn't tighten these. I did tighten these here, but I may have to loosen them up once I get the wheel on and everything, so things aren't out of kilter. So the steering wheel and the tire face the same. You don't want the steering wheel slightly one way or the other. The handlebars, I should say, slightly one way or the other, and then the tire straight. My brother claims that's the way the 250 is. The previous owner wiped out on it, so it could be. I just haven't worried about it because I'm taking this bike all apart, and I'll adjust everything properly. He thought this was bent slightly. I don't know. I don't think it is. I've really looked at it and held straight edges and measured, and I don't think the bars are bent, but he claimed the forks were off kilter, which they could be because the previous owner dumped it, and that's one of the reasons why he sold it. They never rode it because his daughter wiped out, never rode it, and he wasn't a very big guy, and he wiped out, and that was the end of it. So they never rode it anymore. So that's how I ended up, getting this bike, was just because they never really used it. But Kevin did grab the bars and the forks that one day before when we were on the fall color tour, kind of twisted it to get it to where he liked it, and rode it the rest of the day fine. But forks are coming off. This is, it'll come apart like this bike did, so it can all be cleaned up, but it's slowly going together. I've worked on it all day. I'm going to put the chain guard on it maybe, and just getting things together that I need to put on. Like the chain guard needs to go on before the wheel. It would be easier. Just some things I think would be easier to do while the wheels are off and stuff. So I could get in here without this in. I could get in here and work on all this stuff, and so you can kind of see what's going on. It looks pretty darn good. Looking good. It's starting to get front heavy because the forks are on, so maybe I do need to I'll get the front wheel on, and it can sit on the ground. I can take it off the transmission jack and put it on the center stand, and then I can work on the whole bike on that. I took it all apart virtually on that center stand. So anyway, I want to get this on, and I had to paint the little bracket that goes in it because you could see it, and I didn't want to see it. And I tried to clean the plastic up a bit, but it's just, it's 72. It's pretty old plastic, 50 plus years old. So if I go to that motorcycle salvage place, I'll see if I can get one of these that isn't cut. See if I can find one of these that isn't damaged, and find all the crap that goes under here. Now maybe they took that and got rid of it because the aftermarket seat hit it. I don't know. We're going to find out, because I'd like to get the components that go in here so that it, so it's completely correct and right bike. Put the studs in the exhaust ports too. It's got to be done, and I'm running out of things to do until I clean. Like I say, I got to get pretty much everything I cleaned and painted is on the bike. So now I'm getting to the point to where, yeah, I'm gonna have to spend a day cleaning wheels and stuff. I might put those, just set those flanges on here for now, just get them off my bench and out of the way, free up the bench. Hey, don't those look nice? I love them. Once there's chrome acorn nuts on there and chrome pipes sticking out of there, that's gonna look really good. Yeah, I'm gonna be married to the buffer for a couple of days, buffing pipes and other odds and ends. I get, you know, like that I got a buff and whatnot, but it'll be worth it when it's done. That's gonna look good. The acorn nuts I don't think are gonna be here until around New Year's. They're coming from China, so I ordered them before they double in price because of the 100% tariffs, I guess, that are gonna go on Chinese stuff. So, you know, I mean, everybody's going to be paying more for everything because most of our crap that we have in this country comes from China or is imported. So yeah, we'll be paying hefty taxes on everything that we buy. I'm putting the wiring harness on, just kind of getting things organized and where they need to go. I don't feel like cleaning wheels right now, so I've been doing other things, and it all needs to be done. I'm gonna clean the wheels maybe yet today or tomorrow. But anyway, the harness, that goes in the headlight bucket. That's where everything connects up. The horn connects to here. The coils are hooked up. I do have new coils coming for it, so that because these plug wires, this one doesn't even reach around properly anymore, and they're so stiff. And anyway, I've been cleaning the horn up, so I kind of took it apart to clean all the bits up. I got to polish the nuts on those and a little bit of the screw because it shows. A little bracket I just bead blasted and painted, and plastic on the horn I cleaned up. Yeah, I had to take it apart a little bit, but you know, if I'm cleaning everything else up here, you know, that thing bolts right here. I cleaned the bolts for that. That thing bolts right here. It's in plain sight, so it's got to be clean. And, you know, just working away at, you know, getting things done. My pile's getting smaller. There's no doubt about that. The only thing under the car anymore is the throttle and clutch and speedometer and tack cable, the side covers, the headlight, the gas tank, and the seat. I got everything else out. Been putting it on the bike, getting got all the connectors on there, wiring to the, I think this goes on the, you know, the other way around, but it's just there for now so I don't misplace it. Anyway, yeah, so there we go. We got the little ground doohickey in here, the little thing there. Everything's hooked up, and like I say, the horns will plug into that, and it's looking good. I hope to get these on in the next couple of days, and then I can set it up on the center kickstand. Start working on the wheel. I started, you can see the chrome is pretty wrecked down on that spot. That's the only spot on the front wheel where the chrome's really bad. The rest of the wheel, the chrome is okay. Like I say, that's the worst part of this bike is the chrome. I know I said that a million times. But anyway, I'm going to sit here with my chrome polish and some 4-aught steel wool and start cleaning spokes. It's going to be very time consuming. I cleaned up the spokes on this side of the wheel and the hub a bit, except for around the speedometer cable thing. But this side, yeah, I couldn't get at a lot of the spokes and things because the rotor was in the way, so I took the rotor off. This was originally black because it was all peeled, so I'm going to zinc chromate prime this, and then I'll shoot it with some black. It's rainy out, so I can prime it. I just stand in the door without it outside, and then I'll paint it up maybe tomorrow, and then let that dry a day or two before we put it back on. I'll get this cleaned up, so hopefully we can put the front tire back on the bike in the next day or so. The spokes cleaned up pretty nice. The wheel, I gotta finish cleaning the hub. I gotta clean this side over here a little bit more and kind of in between the spokes. But overall, I want to buff the ends of these because these are visible, so I want that to look nice on both sides. And the rotor, which I took off, obviously the rotor was bolted there. And this part here, that's zinc chromate prime because it's aluminum. The rotor's steel, but the hub is aluminum or aluminium, whatever you want to call it. So that was gloss black, and most of the black was off because probably it was never zinc chromate primed. Anyway, we're going to shoot it with some gloss black, and that way it'll look nice when it's on the bike. I decided to spray this with the spray gun with gloss black, and that's coat 1. And I decided to spray this little bracket for the horn with gloss black too. And yeah, I'm spraying out in the dark, so I'm just standing right here spraying, and it's actually foggy out. It's not raining. It was raining, but anyway, it's acrylic enamel, so it'll be fine. It's not raining, and I'm just standing in the door to spray it. So let this tack up a little bit. It's still kind of wet, and then we'll put another coat on it, let it tack another 15 minutes maybe. It's been about 5. That is a final coat. Yeah, that side doesn't show up too well, does it? But yeah, that's a final coat on there. That's acrylic, automotive acrylic enamel, the same paint I used on the frame. And the little horn bracket, which will look good repainted. And, you know, I mean, you see the horn, you see this. So, you know, I mean, I'll demask it tomorrow. I got to buff the bolts that hold that rotor to the wheel. Well, the bolts aren't too bad, but the nuts and these need buffing. So that'll do tomorrow, so I don't stir dust up. Why that stuff's... It's still tacky to the touch, and I don't want buffing dust in it. And so tomorrow we'll buff all the hardware out and put the rotor back on, and maybe tomorrow I'll clean up the hub in here. I couldn't get in there yet, so I'll do that tomorrow. I don't want to stir up any dust, so I'll call it a night, and then, or a day or whatever, and then tomorrow we'll pick up on the video right here where we left off. Hopefully I don't repeat myself too much because this video is over the course of numerous days. The rotor came out nice. That's going to look really good on there. That's all gloss black acrylic enamel. And the horn, mounted that, cleaned it up, cleaned the little bracket for the tack cable, and cleaned the plastic. So, you know, the more you make it look nice, the better. I'm going to set that there for right now so I don't get stuff on it. I'm going to be cleaning the hub on this, and how I've been doing it, I've been actually putzing with it for a little bit, and I'll show you. Got my trusty little Dremel here. Whoops, the cable is on the floor here. So I just kind of with this little brass, that's a brass brush, just kind of going in there and kind of just working all the stuff out of there and get around the spokes really well. The tire was getting ready to fall. And whoops, it just did. Anyway, then just turn it. I can't do this one hand. And then just turn it as I go. So, you know, that's cleaning all the crud out of the hub pretty good. I don't know if you can kind of see a little bit of before and or a little bit of after, a little bit of before right there, and a little cleaner there. But anyway, I'm going to work on it and go around it a few times, and I can get the spokes in here where I can get the steel wool and the chrome polish, and it cleans that stuff up like brand new. So let me get to it, and then I'll show you when it's done. I got the wheel looking pretty good. I cleaned all up in the hub, and I mean, it really Really looks nice. I polished the end there on both sides. And right now I'm polishing the nuts. The bolt head isn't too bad, but I'm giving them a quickie. But the nut head needs to be polished big time on the part that holds the rotor on. So we're doing that right now. You can hear the buffer running. I've already done one. Get the camera trained on what I'm doing, but look at all that. So there you can kind of see. Yeah, so anyway, let me go around and buff all. I got those 4, and I already did one. And I got these little doodads here, but yeah, that's a finished one there. All right, let me get to it and get them all done. Now, doesn't that look much, much nicer? I haven't tightened these up yet because I got to go to the hardware and get a new screw for where the speedometer cable goes in. You can see it. And it doesn't come out and go in unless this is turned. And the only way you can turn that is if this is loose. So I got to run to the hardware. I'll get a screw before I tighten those shock tube nuts up. But man, does that look a lot better. Do you agree or disagree? Let me know in the comments. Yeah, and the chrome isn't perfect on this wheel, but it's not too bad. It's got some pitting up in there, some corrosion up in there. But overall, yeah, it looks really nice. And I took the brakes and the fender off with the tire on, so I know that I can put them back on with the tire on. And next, probably start on the rear wheel so I can get it installed, and then I can get the bike sitting on the stand and go to town with the handlebars and whatnot. I'm cleaning up these now, and you can see how this is pretty badly pitted and the lens is kind of messed up, and I cleaned this up. This is kind of a before. And you can see those little screws are all rusty too. And I took them out, polished them, so they look a little nicer in there. Little things like that make a difference. But this would have been this side. You can see how the pivots are, and I made it so it'll be this side. So I turned this bolt around, turned the lens around, and that way the chrome, the bad chrome will be down, the good chrome will be up, and the same with this one. And I'm going to clean this one up next. I already cleaned the headlight bucket up. It's got a little chip in it, so I'll touch that up, get some paint mixed for the fender or whatever. I do have some white. I might be able to get a close enough match to touch that up with what I have. But that actually cleaned up pretty nice. I'm pretty happy with it. So I'm going to clean up this signal now, and then that way I can get the bucket on and start working on the wiring and figuring out the wiring for the bars. I gotta drill the holes. I think the wiring is going to be long enough, but if it's not, I'll extend it. It's no big deal. And all that wiring for the handlebars plugs in here in the headlight bucket, so it comes out of here and goes right into the headlight bucket. And there's a pretty good sized couple of pigtails sticking out here, so I'm thinking there's probably enough wire. And the cables, if I route them a little differently, I can get the cables to work. The brake hose, I'm definitely going to have to get a longer one, but I'm just kind of putzing around. I worked hard, have about 4 hours into that wheel, and I'm a little sore from leaning over doing it, so this wheel might be a day or two from now, but I want to get this wheel done and on the bike. But like I say, it's going to wait a day or two, so I'm just doing other things, you know. I mean, everything needs to be done. These will eventually need to be done. Everything here needs to be done. So I just work on what I feel like as I go. And that's what I feel like doing right now, is getting the headlight bucket on and, you know, start figuring out the stuff for the bars. And that way I can get stuff ordered that I need, and it'll be here when I'm ready for it. Seeing I rebuilt the forks, and they're all new fluid, and they're, you know, if you saw in my past video how nasty the oil was in those. I can't imagine the rear shocks are any better. I'm sure they're the original shock absorbers to the bike. And well, it has a number on. You know, I guess maybe they've been replaced. They need, you can see it's kind of oily up in there. I'm sure they've leaked, and let's take a look at the other one. This one doesn't look like it's leaking, but it almost looks like it's bent. Can't tell. Maybe it's just this sheet metal chrome gadget on there. But yeah, so I got new rear shocks coming, but like I say, I can just throw those back on if need be to get the rear wheel and everything. You know, just get it sitting on the kickstand, and it'll be easier to work on. But anyway, if this is enough video, I'm going to edit you guys up a video. So if you like what I've been doing so far, like this video, definitely hit the thumbs up icon. It helps me out. Doesn't cost you a penny, and it definitely helps me out. Gets more views, which means a little more revenue. And share the video too if you want. And so hit that thumbs up icon and share the video with somebody you know. And if you like my channel, that 348 engine icon, that 348 engine that powers this 59 Bel Air I've owned for since '78, a long time. And but anyway, that icon will help you subscribe. And again, thank you for taking the time to watch my video.